what I do is I'm an empowerment coach. I'm the meditative coach. As a meditative coach, I take mindset philosophy and I combine that with fundamental business strategies, helping clients to identify and attain results in their passion and in their purpose. So what does all that mean? Pretty much, we need to be able to identify exactly what we want to do in life. Proper identification is key. When you can identify it, then you can visualize it. And you'll see here that the key is all about visualization. Have you ever found yourself in a predicament where when you made it out, you knew without a shadow of doubt that the only logical reason that you came out alive was through divine intervention? But don't get me wrong, all right? I'm a firm believer that no one is coming here to save us, okay? And that we must be the change that we want to see in the world altogether. And that we have the power within to create our own reality. But I still believe that there are some circumstances where they can only be attributed to the mighty hand of Providence. So allow myself to be clear. Every single person in this entire world and in this room has a purpose. When I was 14 years old, I was in my bedroom watching The Simpsons with my brothers, but the weatherman kept interrupting us. Tornado watch this, tornado warning that. He interrupted my show so many times that I said, okay, forget this, and I decided to take a nap. But as I slept, I then was disturbed by violent winds beating and pounding on my window pane. So I got up, walked over to the window, looked outside, and I saw this plastic bag just floating ever so gently in the air. For whatever reason, I thought that was cool, so I went to the next room to call my brothers to come see what I saw. But by the time we got back to the window, we saw a huge, monstrous tornado about 50 yards away coming straight in our direction. That's a predicament. All right? It's coming our way. So we ran. But by the time I could take one step out of my bedroom, the roof started to get ripped off the house. The windows in the house started breaking. The doors started flying off the hinges, and we found ourselves upstairs in the guest bathroom praying in fear for our lives. Did you hear what I said? We were upstairs with the roof flying off. The bed that I was sleeping in was filled with shattered glass. The TV that I was watching was long gone. And there was a hot tub like right outside of my window, right outside my bedroom at the ground floor. That thing got tossed like a Frisbee over 100 yards away into someone else's backyard. I must have a purpose for living. My first job was at Whataburger, flipping burgers, making breakfast, taking orders, and cleaning up the place. Now, I had a slow start at first, but I eventually was able to gain the trust of my managers and my team leads, and I was able to work on all shifts. If you know anything about fast food, then you know that the busiest time of the entire day is on the graveyard shift after the club closes, all right? Drive-through lines get wrapped around the building for hours, and the dining room gets filled with drunken strangers just urging to put some food in their stomachs. And as a matter of fact, it was on the graveyard shift that I tasted coffee for the first time. And it was weird. The rush had came and went, and I had a few more hours left in my shift, so I decided to try it out. So I took a small cup from the counter, poured some coffee, some creamer, and I put 1 pack of sugar. I stirred it up, took a sip, and I kid you not, it tasted like I just licked the back of a motorcycle tire. It was disgusting. All right, it was disgusting. So I turned around, grabbed another pack of sugar, poured it into the cup, stirred it up, took a sip, and it was still nasty. So I turned around, grabbed another pack of sugar, poured it into the cup, stirred it up. But by the time I turned around this time, a huge Latino male with a blue bandana wrapped around his face rushed me with a gun pointed at my head. "Where's the manager? Where's the manager?" he screamed. And as he was walking towards me, I almost backed up and almost sat on the hot grill. But by the time we had got that far, he had turned the gun on the drive-through woman and demanded that she give him all the money. Now, my managers, they were working the back grill, but they were already long gone out the back door. I went to the back to go try to find them and see where they were hiding. But by the time I realized that they'd actually left the building, I thought to myself, I can't leave this woman up there alone. So I made my way back to the front of the building. And when I got there, the robber turned the gun on me once again. So I put my hands up. I said, okay, you got what you wanted. Please don't hurt us. So he grabbed the whole register and ran outside the building, never to be found again. I see this happened in Arlington, Texas. But just 2 weeks later in Dallas, Texas, a McDonald's was robbed and a store employee was shot dead. Why else would my life be spared if I didn't have a purpose for living? You see, God spared my life time and time again. And up until now, I sound like I'm just some kind of innocent victim standing here talking to you. But the truth is, in my adolescence, I became involved in criminal street gang activity. I was in physical altercations like every other weekend, kicked out of school, fist fights, selling weed, jumping people. And to top it off, drive-bys. I know it don't look like it, but that's the truth. At that time, that was the lifestyle of the people that were around me, and that's a lifestyle that became appealing to me. Now, I don't know what it's like where you're from here in Dallas, right? But in Arlington, once the club closes or once a party is over, our custom is to go kick it at a local park. And that's just what me and my homeboys did this one night, right? Now, there was a lot of people out this night, and we knew most of them. And so there was 4 of us. So me and my cousin decided to go this way, and my little brother, my homeboy, they went that way. We split up. And we walking through the crowd, chopping it up with people that we know, shaking hands, so on and so forth, right? But after about 5 minutes or so, everyone in the park started rushing towards my younger brother and my homeboy. And so me and my cousin rushed over there to see what the commotion was about. And when we got there we seen it. Standing just a few feet in front of my younger brother were 3 dudes and too many others to count behind them, posting up and talking like they had a problem. And so we didn't know what was going on. So the first thing that I thought to do was pull out my gun, cock it back, and point it at either of the main 3 that were standing there. Very bad idea. But immediately, someone in the crowd yelled, "He got a gun!" And they turned around and took off running. But in the midst of the commotion, I pulled the trigger. Click! But no bang. Click! Click! Out of frustration, my younger brother snatched the gun away from me, pointed at them. Click! But no bang. So we hopped in the car and we left. And the very next morning, I called my homeboy who had sold me the gun. I said, "Hey, man, this thing right here is a piece of trash. It don't work. We was in a situation last night. I gave him the whole rundown, but bottom line, I need my money back." But he said, "Come scoop me up." So I drove to his house, picked him up. And when he got in my car, he started doing some crazy stuff like he was some kind of gun expert in my car. He started taking off this part, taking off that part, examining it this way. But when he had pointed it at my glove compartment, was about to squeeze the trigger, I said, "Hey, man, hold up. Hold up." The last thing that he did was place the gun outside the car, point it toward the sky, and fire off 3 rounds. Ah! 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 It was at that moment that I realized that I could have been, should have been locked up in prison for the rest of my life for homicide. You see, that's a predicament. Now, I'm not here to tell you who to believe, how to believe, or what to believe, but do you think that all these events played out the way that they did just because of mere chance? Or is there a God that exists who is able to intervene and preserve his purpose for each and every one of our lives? You see, I could have been killed by natural disasters, all right? I was robbed at gunpoint, and I had made it to the point where I was sabotaging my own life, putting my own life in jeopardy. But God knew that this young man, who was innocent, who was a victim, who became a fool, he knew that this same young man was going to be a vessel to do mighty things for his kingdom and for the betterment of mankind. So my charge to you today is that you look over the course of events of your life and just consider, where would I be if it wasn't for the saving grace of Providence? My charge to you is that you make a decision today to play an active role in shaping your life for the better. And that's why I'm here today, all right? Now, if you're willing to take that step with me today, I need to hear you say, "I am ready."
I am ready.
One more time, "I am ready."
I am ready.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, thank you so much. Okay.